All right, so this is a video in response to a brother who asked how the Jonathan Edwards Miscellanies note-taking system has been going for me. It's been about 3 months of doing it, and I wish I had been doing this since I was a new Christian, 16 years ago at this point. And so I figured I might as well just make a video. It's not gonna be high quality of audio or video, I'm just using my iPhone, but at the same time, I really wish that I had had this system from the very beginning of my faith. I'd actually have quite a few volumes now, and it would just be really nice. Obviously, in the last 16 years, I've gone to many conferences, listened to many sermons, read many books, continually growing even to this day. And that's something that I wish I would have captured a lot better in a solid, straightforward, practical system that would be for life. And that's what this system has been for me the last 3 months, through this move from Northern California into Arizona, through a transition of churches again. And there's just a lot going on. I like to study the Bible in the morning. I like to read various books on theology or practical Christian life or history or biographies or whatever else. I like to pray, and I also like to write down my prayers. And I like to take sermon notes on a Sunday in something like this, which is really cool, but not lose it or filter out kind of all these notes into something cleaner. And I want to be able to go back to those notes without looking for 5 hours in a bunch of notebooks that are half complete. Again, I'm taking a very practical approach to this. And I think that that's really key, because a lot of people don't have a lot of time. If you don't have a good system, it's really hard to be consistent. And it's really frustrating, right? It's nice to pull up a prayer and see that God answered it, 10 years ago, but I don't want to do that because I'm randomly looking through an old box that I'm moving. I want to be able to look back and go, I remember that time, and go back and find exactly where that is and read it. So this is just a really helpful system for that. And the system, as I already mentioned, is the Jonathan Edwards Miscellanies note-taking system. And I have to give a shout out to Pastor Matthew Everhard from Gospel Fellowship PCA in Pennsylvania. Because of his YouTube videos, I found out about this, years ago, because he made a video he makes some really great videos. But I have I think it's a 14-year-old ESV Cambridge wide margin. And so I was looking for note-taking all the way back then. And I started to apply some of his videos to my note-taking in scripture. And that was great for the last however many years. But I never actually really did this system and went full force and just did it. I just had a bunch of different notebooks that I experimented with. And so I really have to thank him for that, because I finally did it and I'm really enjoying it. So let's get into it. I've already rambled for about 3 minutes. First and foremost, a nice quality notebook is really key, that you can get consistently over and over and will work well with storage. And I find that this Code&Quill Monolith is a great quality notebook, not too big, not too thick, not too small, nice quality outside, nice ribbon, and great paper quality. And then also you get this little thing so you can attach the pen, and great quality paper, and lots of options for what you can have inside of the notebook if you want. So that's just a practical choice I made. You can obviously choose something different. The other thing that I would recommend is great pens. I'm a big fan of Micron pens. These things dry so quick. I don't want ink on my hand. I don't want to be feeling like I'm rushed. And as I'm rushed, writing a note while listening to a sermon, that I go to another text and then it gets all smudged in there or whatever. These are just high quality. I would just get a pack of one color. I don't do colors with my pens. I don't want to make it more complicated than it already is. And I want it to be simple. And I want my colors to be highlighting. So eventually I will go through or start using like a blue highlighter for just highlighting in my notes different like scripture references. So that way I can quickly look at a miscellany note. In here I have the symbols, and this is just kind of a key index of different things. So I can put this little symbol and I know that that's referencing sin and etc. right? And this is gonna probably continue to grow. But it's been helpful. For example, here you can see I can look at this miscellany and go, okay, so there's the verse, here's a miscellany, there's the symbol, there's the reference of the miscellany number, and this is about sin, but also about mortification here. So I might go and quickly look at that note. In terms of preference of scripture, I'm using the New King James Version in a Cambridge wide margin that I got specifically for this. That isn't super high quality, isn't goat skin, but I have used the ESV goatskin wide margin for, as I said, 14 years. So I really wanted to go with the same Bible. I'm not a fan of the exterior or the ribbons or any of that. The aesthetics for it are not great compared to the options out there. But when it comes to wide margin, nobody does it better. I don't know why that's the case, but they do top, bottom, and both sides. There's no lines. It's really high quality paper. It's just easy to use. And I've been let down by a bunch of different wide margins that I've tried. And the Cambridge wide margin has been good and faithful. You can get a hardback version for a little bit more of an affordable price and have it rebound or whatnot anyways. So it's a good Bible for life. And then I have my Reformation study Bible down here, which we can go into. But point being is that's what I'm utilizing. I like having both those texts because I think they represent both sides very well, New King James Version and Legacy Standard Bible. I really like to read both of these versions. And so I've tried to stick to, at least in this, that being that. And then Greek, I guess is, I could say, or the originals, depending, but I'm not at that level yet. Still learning from some of the Greek, a pastor who was teaching me Greek before we moved. I've been trying to go through some of that content and continually grow. But anyways, here we have the table of contents. As you can see here, I've numbered this book. This is A volume 1. And in here, I just write the page number as I go. I write the miscellany. I write something to indicate what that is, some kind of general note, or if it's scripture, just scripture. It's kind of sometimes a little bit sloppy. This could probably be done a lot better, but I can real quickly glance and go, oh, there's Practical Pilgrim Podcast, episode 3. Okay. And then I can go to that page number, and I know that 15 and 16 are going to be miscellany number 12. So I'm going to fill this out over time. I did particularly calculate exactly how many pages I need for all the pages of this notebook. And then again, you get right into the miscellanies, and I've just been using black ink. Eventually I'll start using a highlighter, probably a blue highlighter for at least the passages. But let's go to yesterday's chapter 5. Here we go. I'm reading a book, and I'm doing kind of a scripture study from the book because the book is giving me lots of passages. And so I'm taking those passages, I'm going and studying it. I'm, writing notes, and then I'm going through and kind of connecting it. Now, here's what's really great about this system. Whether this is a prayer, or it's a sermon prep notes, or podcast prep notes, or on a book, or on a men's study, or sermon notes that I filter from Sunday, or I bring this with me and I write in here on Sunday. What's great is my Bible has limited space, but now I've moved this system to interconnection between these two, and I have virtually unlimited amount of space. And here's how, without losing the connection, which is key. If I'm reading something, I can quickly see, okay, there's miscellany 11 and 13, there's miscellany 14 and 10, and I can go to that volume, A1, and I can go to that page, and I can see, and I can read. And this might have references to other miscellanies. This might have reference to other scriptures. This might have tons of notes of things that I took, or what I thought about, or what I prayed about, etc. And so now what I have is this could also even link to another miscellany. So what I have is a network that is connected, organized, and easy to continually use. And it doesn't clutter up my Bible. Sometimes I'll still put a reference to a scripture in there or something like that if I really find it useful. But I can take all of this space and eventually and ideally, right, really fill it out, but it not be cluttered or too many notes that I took where I'm like, man, I kind of wasted that space. And now I need a new Bible. And I actually really would like to have one Bible that has all my miscellanies, which is why I got this and started this system more practically. But it is fantastic. I cannot recommend it enough. Another great thing about that is I might reference a page or a miscellany number in here. And when I come to that miscellany, it might reference a book, and it might reference the page on that book. And that might be really, really helpful for going back and finding something or connecting it to something else that isn't just scripture. So what's great about this is it could reference a note of a sermon on a particular page. It could be, whatever else it is, but it's so practical and so helpful for everything. I just can't recommend it enough. It has been so great. Whether you're doing Bible study, reading the Bible in a year, or chronological, or you're new to the faith and you're taking notes at, basic Christian class or something at your church, or you're learning and reading with, a group, or you're processing the sermon into notes. So for small group or whatever else you're doing, you're studying creeds and confessions. One thing that I really like is having my study Bible right here. And then this video. This is the Reformation study Bible. I'm a big fan of this study Bible. I think it's probably one of the best out there outside of the one from Joel Beake's camp in New King James Version. But this Bible is phenomenal. It has great contributors, but what it has is it has theological notes on all these topics at certain page numbers. It has all the creeds, confessions, and catechisms. It has these topical articles, and then as you're going through it, it has amazing notes, obviously for the entry of any, just like any other study Bible. You're going to have the breakdown of the book. You're going to have the breakdown of the form and structure of the book as well. So that's really nice. And then you might have theological notes. So when I say that, let's see if I can just find one real quickly. Sometimes I just go through it too fast, like this. So knowledge of self and knowledge of God. And that's a really nice note on a particular page number. So sometimes if I'm doing a study, I might even be able to reference one of the creeds. I can reference where that is. I can reference the page to a theological note that was helpful. I can reference, obviously, again, to the study note that is in here. And so again, these two are phenomenal. And then if I need to, I like to share scripture as well. Because I'm using New King James Version here and ESV, I have the Legacy Standard Bible on my phone, and that's where I can easily, with the Read LSB Online, I can share a passage very easily from them because the way that they built their online reading of scripture, which is really nice. So I can kind of have both of those together. And yeah, it's just a great system. I can't recommend it enough. I will be doing this probably for the rest of my life and fine tuning it even more. But if you haven't considered a solid system to maintain all of this, this is the system for you. It'll make it so much easier to go back and find what you're looking for. Some improvements and things that I could have done is I could have put dates on each of these. I could have made the table of contents a little bit cleaner. Again, I could have introduced colors if I wanted to. I think I will still, but with highlighting and only in here, not in here, so this doesn't get muddled since I already have symbols. And yeah, there's just some small improvements, but I think that this first full miscellanies, I've kind of done some experiments in other monoliths. I think this is going to be probably my favorite and first of many, hopefully for life, whether I write songs or I'm praying or I'm studying and finishing a book, or I'm teaching a class, or I'm prepping for a sermon, or whatever else it is. So hopefully this was helpful. I know this is a long-winded answer to that question and follow-up, and it was from one brother, so I don't know if this will be helpful to anybody else, but I did want to recommend it and make a video for it. Appreciate you for listening. If you did get this far, you're awesome, and have a great day. Thanks.